Hi, welcome to another flute review, taking a closer look at one of the flutes from my collection. This flute I've had for about 3 months now. This is a flute from Rising Moon Flutes. David O'Neill is the flute maker. He is out of North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina. I've looked at his flutes through his Etsy store a few times in the past. A friend of mine had a couple of his flutes. I've asked people about his flutes, and when I saw this one on his Etsy store, I was very intrigued. I like purple. This has a purple agate inset into a kind of an oval type ring on creating the fetish on the block there. It has Purpleheart, and I'll get into some more details on that. And Quilted Maple, I love Quilted Maple. I've got some guitars with Quilted Maple tops. It is one of my favorite looking figured woods. So when I saw this, I was very intrigued. I asked David for a dry sound sample, which he sent to me. Once I heard the sound sample, I went ahead and talked to him about making the purchase. This flute, along with some of his other offerings, came with a single flute stand, a display stand, and I don't use those too much. I show my flutes a different way than that. And so I talked to him about that, and we agreed that he could use that on something else and discount a little bit off the price because I wasn't in need of that. So the flute comes with a very nice fleece bag. It comes with a rather amazing book that at first David forgot to pack with the flute, and the flute was packed extremely well. The book is pretty amazing. It's got songs, it has other reference things, how to read the sheet music, how to play different types of flutes, drone flutes, single flutes, a little bit of the history and things. A very complete book. He says it needs a little bit of updating, but what books don't? Very, very well done book. And so he did send that to me a little bit later on. This flute, his construction is, on this flute in particular, is amazing. He starts with a piece of quilted maple, solid quilted maple, and then he sliced it diagonally and this is when he was making his flute blank, getting his flute blank ready, he sliced it diagonally and added these Purpleheart accent rings, 3 of those, glued the flute blank back together, and then he cut the flute blank, and for these vertical bands, narrower bands of African Blackwood, he put those in, which each band has about that much taken out of the flute blank so it doesn't disrupt the grain pattern. An amazing job that he did, and putting those together, my understanding was those were, he reinforced all of that so that when he went through and did the boring technique, solid bore construction, one-piece bore construction, that that joint would be much stronger. He bores and stops, from what I can tell by looking inside of here. Looks like he bores and stops, and then I believe he bores and stops here and then adds this portion of the mouthpiece. That part I'm not really clear on, but I believe he adds this portion of the mouthpiece, which has a smaller hole than the slow air chamber area. The breath hole is 3/8 of an inch in diameter. The bore diameter is 7/8 of an inch in diameter. It has a dropped nest that is machined in and flattened in that way. The flue is built into the flute body, and the Fetish block has a chimney with sloped wings on each side. The wings do extend at the bottom the full length of the true sound hole. The true sound hole is 7/16 of an inch wide and 3/16 long. And the Fetish block, the agate, has been sliced and polished. Light shows through it and everything. There will be pictures to detail all of this stuff. The block itself is made out of Purpleheart to match these diagonal bands, and it's not totally clear to me. I'm sure he must epoxy that agate in after he creates the spot for it. One leather tie, which has it's threaded through 2 holes in the block, crossed underneath, and holds very, very nice and securely. The holes are almost all the same diameter. A little bit on the small side in comparison to some other flute makers. It seems to do fine on half-holing and things like that, and they are not evenly spaced so that it's easier to keep them about the same size. When looking closely at the holes, you can see where he's done a little bit of undercut filing and things like that to help tune instead of just enlarging the whole entire diameter of the hole. Very, very well done, beautifully done. And here's the voice. Beautiful sounding flute, very articulate, nice clear tone, yet it's still mellow when you want it to be. And the looks of this flute is very unique. It's one of the things that grabbed my eye with the diagonal lines, the different vertical lines and bands on here, the huge agate stone slice that was created and polished to use on the fetish block there. Truly a work of art that is still a beautiful sounding musical instrument. So if you haven't checked out David O'Neill's Rising Moon Flutes, you might want to do it. Just a beautiful, beautiful flute. He has some that are much less intricate in design than this, that are still very, very beautifully made. So thanks for tuning in. Let me know what you think of the sound of this flute. What do you think of the looks? This one is pretty unique. I don't think I've ever seen a flute with this style of woodworking. So let me know in the comments what you think about the looks, about the sound of this flute. Let me know if you have tried one of David O'Neill's flutes and what you think. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out when I do post another review on a flute from my collection, or some of my music videos, flute playing tutorials, flute comparisons where I will take a group of E flutes, for example. This one, by the way, I don't think I mentioned, is an F sharp. F sharp minor can be played in mode 1 and mode 4. So thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.